What's up everybody, it's Monkeyfarm, and today we're going to do a tutorial on my new mob spawner design called Mobs on Demand. It has that name for a very good reason. Basically the mobs spawn up there, and when we flip the switch, all of the mobs will be pushed down off the spawning pads into the center, and they will fall down into the XP farm here at the bottom. I do also have a tutorial on this. If you haven't seen it, I will put a link on the screen or in the description. So basically what happens is I usually get anywhere from 50 to 60 mobs. I've had a little bit more in there occasionally up in the spawner. It has 5 different levels, and basically we flip the switch, and in about 5 or 10 seconds all of the mobs get pushed into a central trench, and they will get pushed into the center, and then they'll drop off, and we can turn this switch off after about 10 seconds because all the mobs will already be in the trench, and we can just allow new mobs to start spawning while we are killing these guys and getting the XP. Now you can use a sword if you want to kill them, guaranteed one-hit kill. Most of the time they're anywhere from 1 to 2 hits, 3 hits usually. And by the time you've killed all the mobs that fall down, you can usually flip the switch again, and new mobs will have already spawned, and they will start falling down as well, and you can just keep repeating that process. If you get loot stuck in the back where you can't grab it, we have a loot pusher here. You step on the pressure plate. So anyways, I will take you over to the test world and we will show you how to build it. So the concept behind this is using triangular shaped pads like this, so it only requires us to use 1 block of water and 1 piston per pad on each side of the spawner. And we have 5 levels of pads on the spawner, giving us 1020 spawnable blocks where mobs can spawn. Obviously there's a lot of light in here, so there won't be a ton of mobs, but you flip the switch, all of the water turns on, and within 5 or 10 seconds all of your mobs fall off the edge and then down through the drop-off chute. Now this design that I'm going to show you here uses half slabs to prevent spiders, and then pressure plates to keep the water from getting clogged in between the slabs. Now all you have to do to make spiders spawn on here is remove all of those slabs except the back one, and make the water channels a little bit wider, so the spawner will be a little bit bigger, but it will handle spiders. However, the spiders won't really work in the XP farm that I showed you in the beginning of this video because they're a different size. So let's show you how to build it. Now the first step is most important, deciding where you want the mobs to fall, because mobs will die if they fall 24 blocks or more. So what you actually want to do is decide where your XP farm is, or where you want to have the mobs land, and then build up 22 blocks from there. And the reason you want to build up 22 blocks instead of 23 is because there's a block of water that the mobs will be jumping off of or falling off of, and basically that will count as a block. Okay, since the dimensions of the spawner are 21 by 21 blocks, and this is a 2 by 1 opening, just to keep everything symmetrical, we're going to pretend that this is the very center block right here. So what we need to do is add make this a 5 by 5 square around the center block. So you'll basically add another block to each side except the one with the extra hole right here. So what we want to do on the block next to the extra hole right here is build 4 blocks up. Now what we're going to do on all the other 3 sides is only place the 4th block up. So in other words, these 3 blocks will not be here. And you'll understand why once we get to the water flow. We basically just have to do it this way to make all the water flow into the center and not have any dead spots with the water. So this is symmetrical right here. You basically have a plus sign in between all of these orange blocks, So double check that and make sure everything is sized up correctly. Now obviously you won't be using wool for this, you'll be using some stone. There won't be Enderman in this, so it doesn't really matter if you use stones that Enderman can pick up because you won't have that problem in here. What we want to do is basically build out 9 blocks, and that's counting the first orange block, so you'll add 8. So this is basically the template for our spawner pads. To build those, you just add a block, and then the next row back you add an extra block, and keep doing that until you get to the final the block that we've built here. And we're going to do that for all 4 pads. Now to double check this, you'll notice that there are, if you build sideways, there will be 3 blocks. This will be a 3-block channel. I guess 2 if you count it diagonally, but it's easier to count on a up, down, right, left kind of dimension. Now hopefully you guys noticed that when I placed the 9 blocks, or the 8 extra blocks out on the edge, that I missed one over here, and the way you can double check that once you have the pads finished is there's a little L shape right here in between each corner. So it'll be 3 air blocks in a L shape, or what else? A J shape, I guess, whatever. Anyway, so the way you double check that obviously is by this, and what you can see is that I missed one. So I'm going to fill these in real quick, because I don't know how to count to 9 or 8 or whatever it was. Okay, so now everything should look symmetrical right around our center point here. Don't worry, we're going to break this gold block. It will be air, it will be a drop-off. I'm just keeping it as a point of reference. Now the very last block on each of these pads is actually going to be our wall. I'm going to do this with glass just for the sake of the demo, but I recommend using some kind of stone so that you don't let a lot of light in, because mobs spawn in the dark obviously. So what I'm actually going to do is build up a 3-block wall. It will be of glass, but once again I recommend you use stone to not let light in. A 3-block wall from the pads here, and the 3rd block will actually end up being our ceiling on the first level, or the floor of the next pad. Next we're going to add the water and the pistons, and once we get that done you can just replicate this for each level. I built 5 levels in mine. You can probably build it a little bit higher, but there's really no need to do more than 5, because each level has 204 spawnable pads. That makes a total of 1,020 spawnable pads if you do 5 levels. And the game has a mob cap, I think it's around 70, so there's really no reason to build more than 5 levels. You really won't get any more benefit out of it. So what we need to do is this, like I said, this is the floor of our next level up. What we need to do is leave an empty hole right here, right in the center, and this is where our water is going to flow through. Now once you build the next level, you'll just build everything exactly how you did below. We're not going to do that just so you can see everything. I want to make sure that you can see all of this. Okay, to add the water and the pistons, we can break these 3 blocks. In one of these blocks you want to put a regular piston. You don't have to use sticky pistons. And then we need some blocks behind here to stop the water flow. And you can place the water block in the far empty block here. And what that will do is cause the water to flow into this center block and then out through this hole. Now to shut this off, we will be powering this edge here with redstone. I will just put a redstone torch here just for the example to show you. We will be changing that. The next thing we're going to do is add the half blocks, or the slabs. The most important one is underneath the drop-off here, because otherwise you will get endermen. Okay, so the pattern I use for the slabs to prevent spiders is you put one on the end, and then move two up and one over. Same on this side. Then skip two diagonally and skip two diagonally again, and you'll do that on both sides. Whoops. It's pretty important that you get this right, otherwise you'll have some spiders clogging up your system, which you definitely don't want. So then in front of this first slab that we put another one, and then 2 blocks over on each side you put another slab, and then right in the middle there you place that slab. So that will give you a total of 12 slabs per pad. So you have the back one, you have these 5, these 3, these 2, and the one on the end. And before we add the pressure plates, I want to point out one thing, that you need to have a sign underneath the block where the pistons are. The reason for that is that it doesn't matter on the bottom level, but on the other levels, if we had a piston outside here, what's going to happen is this pressure plate is actually going to activate the piston if a mob spawns on it. So we definitely don't want that. Okay, once you have your sign in place, you can put pressure plates on the rest of the open blocks. Now I'm going to use wood pressure plates in my demo over there. Obviously I use stone pressure plates, but these are much easier to build, or cheaper, so they say, to make wood pressure plates, because basically one log breaks into 4 wood blocks, and that will make 2 pressure plates for each one. So a lot cheaper than smelting your cobblestone with coal and all of that. So each pad should look like this, with your 1 block over here with the sign underneath the piston, or where the piston is. And you do that for each side. Okay, once you have your first level of pads, each level is basically replicable. But what we're going to do is fill in the bottom part, and you know, there are probably many ways you can build this any way you choose, whatever is easiest for you. You know, it's kind of tough kind of hanging out here on the edge. If you're building this underground, obviously it'd be a lot easier. And I will just do this out here so you can see which blocks you need to have filled in. Okay, so there's our one channel. I'm going to fill in the rest for you real quick. Okay, once we have all of the drop-off channels filled in or walled off, there's one thing we need to do before we add the water and the pressure plates. So go into the far corner of each of the 4 corners and add another block, and then add 2 more blocks on the side. And this is going to be another level of water, and we're going to have this drop off just to keep the flow of water moving. Now the reason I put pressure plates here is to give an extra buffer zone for the mobs to fall, because if you think they're way up 5 levels up, if they fall, you want to control their damage as much as possible, because once you actually get them down to the bottom, you want it to be a one-hit kill, and you want all the mobs to have the same amount of damage. Okay, so you'll notice that all of the water is flowing forward except right here. And instead of breaking one of these blocks to let the water flow down, what I'm going to do is place another block here and a water block on top of it. Now the water won't flow backwards because of the pressure plate, but this water will connect with that water block. So go ahead and break the block underneath it, and now you can start putting pressure plates again, so that all of our blocks here have water above them. One thing I forgot to tell you is above the 2 holes here, you want to put 2 signs. Okay, what I'm going to do is go ahead and do the same thing for all 4 sides here, and I will be right back. Okay, so just to give you a reference where we're at, I've blocked off the water so you can see everything. This is the one side where we had blocks all the way up the side. So I'm going to show you the blocks that you don't want to put pressure plates on. Okay, so 2 on each side here, and you do that for 3 rows, so you're going to have six on each side here. You're going to have a total of 9 blocks that don't have pressure plates. Okay, so I'm going to break all of these wool blocks. I'm going to save the one over here last, the one closest to the missing pressure plates. So let's go ahead and break both of these, and you'll notice we already have a couple blocks that aren't covered with water. No problem, we can fix that. 2 more here, and you'll notice this water is flowing in. Okay, so get your pressure plates ready. You want to break these 2, then put them back. And you'll notice that everything is symmetrical with the water flow. It's perfectly pointing to the center. And we're going to do the same thing over here. Break both of those, then put the pressure plates back. And you'll notice that the water is still flowing forward. If you have any spots that are pointing into a block and not flowing forward, you've done something wrong and you need to try it again. Okay, so what I've done is replicated 4 more layers, so we have a total of 5 layers, 2020 spawnable blocks. Even though your spawner will either have a large canopy or solid block walls, we are still getting a few spawns in there. But the important thing you need to do is make sure on the very top level that you cover up both blocks of the piston and the water and the open block here. And don't use half blocks to cover that, because they will leak light through. So you need a solid full block above, in that T shape above the pistons, the water, and that open hole. And then of course on top of that you will need a half slab to prevent mobs from spawning on your roof. Alright, I have removed all the redstone torches, and now all of the water is flowing on each level, and I've placed a lever here just so that we can turn this on or off. But you need to run a redstone wire up the side of your spawner, and I like to do this from the corner, because what we're going to do is we're going to power the lower level. The wire will go to the right and power these 2 pistons, and to the left to power the other 2 pistons. And then what we'll do to power each additional level is we'll just run a wire up the side here, so that we save a lot of redstone that way. So basically I'm going to vertical wire up the side. Then what we're going to do is bring our cobblestone over from the first pistons over here. And what we want to do is run the redstone from here over towards the piston, each piston on both sides here. So if I connected it all the way, it would shut the piston off. But what we're going to do is actually put a block here and invert the signal with a redstone torch. So if I put a redstone torch here, the problem is this piston will be open while this one is closed. So instead of doing that, what I'm going to do is put a block above this one with a redstone wire here. So forget about that redstone torch for a second. When I flip the switch, now this redstone will be powered, and so will this. So both pistons are doing the same thing. Okay? So now we'll leave the switch on. So continuing to wire this up the side, we're going to want a redstone signal to be on here. And the way we do that is putting a block above this redstone torch and a redstone next to the piston here. So this will power the block, that block will power this redstone, so we can just keep vertical wiring up again. Now this level, this level will be a little different. So this torch is already powered, so all we have to do is put a redstone next to it. And one more level to go. Okay, so I think we'll have a little problem with this. So what we're going to do is not use this redstone torch at all, and instead we'll just put a redstone right there, and that'll power this block, and since that is next to the piston, it'll power the piston. So we are all set on this side. Everything should be off on this quarter. On to the next one. Okay, so our redstone is on. We can just run a wire and see how far it will go. We'll need a repeater somewhere in here, right here. Okay, our signal is still going, and that piston is powered. But once again, we need to do the same thing that we did over here. However, we can't do the same thing as the other side, because if we put a redstone torch here, it will invert and not be powered. So what we're going to do is put a repeater here with a block and put a redstone there, and then we'll just vertical wire up the side again like we did on the other side. And once you get all four sides wired up to the side, now you just need to take care of a few things, just making it look better. You know, I put a bunch of rows along the side just to, you know, kind of break up this ugly stone stuff on the side. Very nice. The only thing you have to do with this is cover this with half slabs, and this is all aesthetics. You know, you can change this if you want, but you don't want mobs spawning on the outside rings here. You know, so just need to cover up any blocks that could spawn a mob on them, including the roof, obviously. So you got to cover the whole roof, and you get the picture. So let's see, do we have any mobs in here? We've got a couple, but so I basically wired around both sides, and there aren't many mobs in there at the moment, but you'll see they all fall off. And turn off creative mode here real quick, and we have our little XP farm. Now obviously you'd have to build my XP farm to push the loot out to you. And back over to my finished prototype, because it looks a lot better. So once you flip the switch, you can watch all your mobs fall off the edge. They'll all get pushed into the center, and obviously you would have them live at the bottom, but this one's a little bit higher. So if you made it this far in the video, I wish you good luck building it if that's what you plan on doing. Hope you liked the video, hope you liked the spawner, and make sure you're subscribed for future videos, and we'll talk to you next time.